placer estar en su país, que es tan hermoso, pero sobre todo es muy hermosa su gente y eso es una de las cosas que es uno de los mayores valores que ustedes tienen. My name is Jorge Perez, and I will talk to you about my company, Tierra del Volcan. In Tierra del Volcan, we focus on offering legendary moments, those moments that you would like to take back home, those moments after a trip that you are wishing to be back there just to share with your family or your friends how nice or how unique was your experience. And I think that's what traveling is all about, you know, having those moments. So we're focused on the area of the Cotopaxi volcano, where we have 3 haciendas, family-owned, that we see ourselves as adrenaline fuel conservation. So besides Tierra del Volcan, I also manage a mountain biking company, which our slogan is searching for the Holy Trail. So we're trying to find the most beautiful trails around the world. So this project started in '99. It started as a university project with the idea of sharing these haciendas that's been in our family and create these unique experiences through them. We also learned that you don't miss what you don't know. So if we want to share conservation, it's important for people to get to those places and to get to those places and to get in love with it, to connect with the mountains, to connect with nature. And then once you get in love with it, then you start taking care of it. Then you start to worry about its future. So how we do that? We do through different experiences. You saw some of them on the video. So you could go mountain biking up to 4 days in the area. There's amazing trekking opportunities and lodge-to-lodge opportunities. We have the chagra culture, like the gauchos, so part of our idea is to sell these moments where you could share with the locals. And not only that you could learn from them, but they could learn from you. So it's a win-win model. And we're focused a lot on families, so we have created a lot of, I think families is generation next in tourism. So because there's our generation plus their children. So if we educate the children, that whole world could change. So we're located on an ecosystem that is called Páramos, that is between the 3,200 meters and the 4,500. And its major benefit for conservation, and the reason to preserve it is water. 100% of the water that we get on the Ecuadorian Andean cities will come from this ecosystem. And would like to share a picture of me when I was starting this project. So, you know, one of the main goals is that I think we have to change, when we're talking about sustainability, change a little bit the focus. So in tourism, we say, think globally, act locally. I think when we're talking about sustainability, then we have to think locally, share globally. Why? Because every place has its own characters, every culture has its own dilemmas, like that's the reason I put someone planting a tree. I don't know how much sense will be that for conservation in the Atacama Desert. So every situation or every place has its own reality, but at the same time, sharing that knowledge, knowing what we did right, knowing what we did wrong, and I can spend hours and hours telling you what we did wrong. It's a good way to learn. It's a good way to share. Another important thing is when we're talking about conservation, we're talking about people, you know. Nature could take care of itself, but it's we humans that create all the trouble. So for that, it's very important to have the right relationship with people. And one of those is that we don't see people working for us. We see people working with us. Which means that we all believe that in what we're doing. On the other hand, I see very common that we confuse sustainable development with charity, and they could have things in common, but they are completely different. And that means you are not working for them, you're working with them. And sometimes I see a lot of Westerners that will go and say to the people, I know what's right for you, but that's not fair. You won't tell that to any of the people in this living room. You will talk to them and share with them. So you have to find projects that will create that. And that's one of the pictures. We were working with the locals about preserving the area. And that was their slogan they came with. They decided that was the best. Limpio es lindo. Clean is nicer. And that was their idea of the first step getting into conservation. And we got there together, we worked together in putting those signs, we built them together. So we try not to impose a model, we would like to share a model. Another thing that we have learned is that you have to understand the local culture and respect it. You might not share what they think or their beliefs, but you have to respect it. That's the first thing. So, for example, we have the chakra culture, which is like the gauchos, and they grew up with managing bullfights. And bullfighting has been through a lot of debate lately. So you might agree or not, but that's their culture, and we have to respect it. And the other thing is understand this cosmovision, how they see the universe, how the universe works for them. And we have a different sense of time in Western cultures, we have a different sense of what's good and what's wrong. But you don't necessarily need to agree with them, but you need to, if you want to intervene in an area, you need to respect that. And that creates, relations within respect creates the difference. It's important also to look at the big picture. So a lot of us, when we were developing a lodge, we're thinking on our place, our hotel. But if you don't get the big picture, if you don't see the whole forest and you just focus on your tree, that's a fast path to failure on the time. And I've seen projects that were beautiful, but the whole area developed the wrong way, and now they're not beautiful anymore. How we did that? For example, we create a private conservation reserve. We talk to the landowners, we've signed an agreement for 10 years, and which we will manage it until they get ready, and then we will give it back to them so that they can manage and own it. So now it's already 10 years, we're still working with them, but it's under their control. It's important to invest beyond your product. When we started this project, we were talking 99, and the national park was the gate, the north gate of the national park was destroyed. But if we wanted to preserve the area, we needed that gate. The government at that moment didn't have the money to have it. So what we did is we raised funds. For that, we worked with a non-profit organization and rebuilt the area. And when you create a destination, when you grow the product, then more people will come. And you have to keep in mind what's the most important part of that area. And for us was the Cotopaxi National Park. But we realized that there was no good trails. And they didn't have in mind the idea of making new trails. So we start building some viewpoints, and we start building bridges in certain points, just to start the ball rolling. Once they realized that it was good, because we don't have all the money to do that, but once the ball start rolling, then they will start investing, and that's what happened in Ecuador. We think it's very important to invest in the future, and that's education. So what we did with that is we rehabilitate 5 different schools. Our vision is that the children will educate the elder. If we want to respect the culture, then I have to respect that, but then when children, I could make them understand the reasons why we're focusing on conservation and the benefits of it. And they will be more happy to share it with their parents. And their parents will understand. It's different when I go and tell you to stop doing that, that if your child comes and tells you, Dad, stop doing that. Another thing is that expand their minds, you know. So for example, we have this project that is called Jobs of the World, where some of our visitors will come and share what they do in their countries that is completely new to us and to them, and that expands the possibilities of what's going on in the world. Also, it's very important to involve your visitors. They do not have just to see what you offer or what you've done for conservation. They have to get involved. You need to put the hands on. And for that, we have a program that is called Traveling with a Purpose. That will give you that opportunity to work with the community or work related to conservation. Giving back to nature. You know, nature is one of our most important allies here, and we have to work with them, with nature, and with the children, and with our clients, so that when they go back home, they don't only help to preserve us this, but also we'll start having these initiatives back home. The other thing is that we create opportunities. For example, we create the park rangers with the local chagra. So they were the hunters, and now they are the people preserving the area. Share your knowledge. You know, like we create interpretation centers for the local visitors, but also for the local communities to understand the area. Or sharing the idea of living with an active volcano. That was something that now we're facing, but we were doing that too in 2002, then in 2006. So the communities were ready, and our presence become a good thing, you know. Then we're friends, then we're partners. But, you know, one of the other things that we realized is that nature could play you some tricks. And if you don't adapt, you die. And that's part of tourism. You see the volcano here and how things have changed. You see a beautiful volcano there, but also people got really scared of going there. So, and changed a lot of what we could offer. So we need to learn to adapt, or if not, we die. And crisis creates opportunities. So I think when it's important to act now. So what we did when that happened is we invite Jeff Chatterton, which is an expert in crisis management, to talk to all the local tour operators and share what they, how to do it rightly. And I said, help us to help. I see this also in Nepal. You know, we are the community called to help Nepal or to call this area just by sending clients, just by sending the right information. So what I've learned from mountain biking, you know, one of my most important learnings has been that we have to learn to look where we want to go and not what we want to avoid. And sometimes in conservation we're doing that. We're on the global extinction, and for sure there's a lot of threats. But more to make people see what are the threats, we have to focus on sharing them, what are the paths we should take. And this community, from my point of view, is the one called to do that. You know, how to do it, where you want to go, you know, not focus on the problems, focus on the solutions.